Hey, what's going on? I'm DJ Sixsmith. You're watching The Sit Down. You're going to like this next docu-series we're talking about. It's a wild story. James Lee Hernandez, Brian Lazarte, McMillions, guys. What's going on? How are you?
Thanks for having us.
Good to meet you.
Yeah, good to meet you too.
So I told you before, I'm an hour in, and just reliving this whole story was wild. Why was this a story to tell for you guys, and what was it like putting it together?
We, like most kids growing up in the 90s, the McDonald's Monopoly game was huge. It was everything. Like, I remember every single summer I was like looking forward to trying to win that $1 million, and usually you just get like free burgers and fries and all that. So when we first discovered that this was happening behind the curtain the entire time, it was like, gotta dive in, need to know everything about it, and surprisingly there wasn't that much information about it. And so, I discovered the story in 2012, eventually put a Freedom of Information request in with the U.S. government. That took a little over 3 years to go through. Wow. And once that went through, I was able to contact FBI agents and the FBI itself and talk to them about it. And they're like, this is our favorite case. No one has ever contacted us about it. Yeah, and so then I called up Brian, and here we are. Yeah,
they were really hyped to talk about it, and especially like Jacksonville, the FBI isn't exactly a hopping spot down there. So what was it like engaging with the FBI on all this?
I mean, you would think that, right? That they'd be more subdued.
Yeah, a little more secretive about everything.
There's this stoic, hard to read.
Right.
But the Jacksonville FBI is apparently where it's at. Like, these characters are full of life, full of creativity. Obviously, one of our the rookie agent, who's very much featured in the first episode, is highly entertaining.
He's definitely told the story like 10 different times to people in his life.
And this is his chance to really tell it the way. And Doug Matthews, the main FBI agent, or the rookie FBI agent that worked this case and really was the heart and soul of a lot of it. He is he's a character.
He's quite a character.
He's so atypical of what you would think of the very boring FBI agent, and it's still, when we talk to him on the phone today, he's like that 100% of the time.
It's really fascinating. What about the people from McDonald's too? Because they're on the other side of it, and they eventually didn't have any involvement with it. But what was it like, kind of unpacking that situation?
I mean, you'll see too in the upcoming episodes. We talked to a number of the winners as well. With everybody, it just like it blow our minds. Yeah. There'd be a new chapter of the story that we had no idea was there. I mean, with the FBI, getting to learn about it from their point of view, like seeing their investigative process, realizing like, okay, this started with like the kernel of like a Post-it note, something that would have almost been discarded as a hoax or not worth pursuing from a financial standpoint within the Bureau. And then to see it expand, within that, and how they got McDonald's to help them achieve what they needed to do, which was to run the game again, to catch who was behind this. We approached it very similarly. Like, McDonald's at first, wasn't necessarily 100% on board with participating in the docu-series.
Yeah, when we first reached out to them, they were a bit trepidatious, to say the least.
Yeah.
I mean, they're one of the biggest companies on the planet. They're extremely protective of their brand, and most documentaries that are done about McDonald's don't usually sway it in the best light. And we said, look, we're going to tell this story. We want to come to Chicago and just tell you what we're thinking. And that's it. It's about relationship building, and you can say yes, you can say no, but let's just talk about it, and it starts from there.
Yeah, I think it was important you had them in there too, because they're a part of the story. They're part of this 100%. Undercover production company that's going and talking to the winners. Like, that was insane.
Right. And actually, it said a lot to us about the company McDonald's, not only for what they did back then, but also for us. So we were tremendously grateful that they were willing to share their side of the story.
Definitely. And you had the footage of the actual winner. Like that's where this all began. So it's just something so simple, but like kind of eerie to look back on in a sense. So what was it like using that footage and telling the story now?
Well, we have the reaction like anybody else. When you watch that footage, it's mind-blowing. You're like, I'm watching someone lie to the FBI. They know what's going on.
Right. And the FBI is lying to them.
Yeah, exactly, because Doug's in there and he's pretending to be a cameraman. Yeah, so both sides are lying, and then we don't know what the rest of the story is going to be, but we see everything unfolding.
Exactly, and then the winners, they go into very intricate detail, which just sort of emboldens the lie that they're telling. Like the more detail you throw into something like that, the more it doesn't seem quite right. And you have this entire team of FBI agents who are acting as this undercover crew, and they have no clue what they're doing. And outside of the cameraman, everybody else is fumbling around and trying to figure out how to do things. It's just still such a crazy thing to watch even now.
Yeah, Brian, what stuck out to you the most about that part of the docu-series?
Well, I mean, obviously, like it plays very much like a movie, right? The FBI concocting this idea to show up.
Shamrock Productions.
Shamrock Productions, like, hey, let's start a production company and show up at these winners' houses. To have them tell their story on camera, like Publishers Clearinghouse, with the big check.
This is how directors dress in polos. They're like, where are you getting this information? You guys are probably like, this is ridiculous.
It was hilarious. Like that was the advice he got. Like a director looks like they just came off the golf course.
It's like not exactly.
Maybe back in the 90s.
I don't know where I'm talking, but you guys know that's not a director's role.
But watching that footage though, it's like we always found that you have these conflicting feelings. Because on one hand, this person's lying. You almost want to laugh, but at the same time, you also feel bad for them at the same time. So it's that conflict of how to feel about these people sharing their story, we found to be an incredibly compelling component of this story.